So Gunna just outsold The Weeknd, and many people didn't see it coming. And I've heard every excuse in the book. The Weeknd didn't drop physical copies. If he did, he would have blew Gunna out of the water. The Weeknd had no promo. I'm gonna try to sum up as quickly as I can why I think that Gunna outsold The Weeknd, why I think there's such a huge disparity in the physical sales that both artists are likely to end up coming out with, and explaining why anything over 100,000 sales first week can never be a flop. So the first thing that I've been thinking about for the past few days is Gunna is never going to out-volume The Weeknd when it comes to pure anything. Anything tangible that represents his music, he's never going to outshine The Weeknd. And the main reason why is because of the type of music that Gunna makes. Gunna not selling more than The Weeknd is not a loss for Gunna. The fact that The Weeknd could outsell Gunna with physical merchandise is not indicative of people not wanting to listen to Gunna's music. The settings that you would play Gunna's music in are not the same settings that you would play The Weeknd's music in. You go around, you ask the average Gunna fan if they own one of his vinyl, if they own a CD, if they own anything of his that represents his music in a tangible fashion, they're gonna tell you no, because that's not what Gunna's music is for. Gunna's music is for a good time. Gunna's music is for the gym. Gunna's music is for a ride. But The Weeknd's music is genuinely an intimate experience. You ask the average Weeknd fan if they own merchandise that represents Starboy, After Hours, Dawn FM, they're going to tell you, yup, and that's fine, because the type of music that The Weeknd makes and the fans that he has are like a cult. Most pop stars that have cult-like fan bases are going to gobble up any merchandise the artist releases that represents the music that they make. So the first thing I didn't do was look at the idea that since The Weeknd could outsell Gunna with physical volume, meant that he took the W in this Gunna versus The Weeknd streaming battle. Because Gunna is supposed to shine when it comes to streams against The Weeknd. That is literally what his music is for. His music is not for representation of a fan base. His music is for, like I said, the good time. You're not supposed to listen to Gunna's music alone in your room without your peers, absent of social settings. You're not supposed to listen to Gunna's music like that. You're just not. He doesn't make that type of music. So the likelihood that you would need something tangible to represent your love for his music outside of you just playing it around the people that you like, or at functions, or at the gym, or in your whip, or with your friends, is very, very low. You don't need physical copies of Gunna's music. You just play it. Second, I want to stop acting like Gunna is supposed to be like a chump. He's been selling 90, 100,000 for a minute. And I'm not just making up the idea that Gunna fans don't buy physical variations of his music. We go to Drip or Drown 2, 90,000 album units, 7,000 in pure sales. That's less than 10%. Wanna, 111,000. 4,000 pure album sales. That's less than 5%. DS4EVER, 150,000 first week, 4,000 pure sales. That's less than 3%. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But let's stop trying to pit Gunna against The Weeknd using the same scales, because they'll never be on the same scales. The type of music that they make does not represent their audience in a way that you could gauge who's supporting who better. Let's look at The Weeknd's discography. Starboy, 348,000 sales first week, over 200,000 pure album sales. Why is the disparity that big? It's not because Gunna's fan base is weaker and The Weeknd's fan base is stronger. They're different. They make two totally different types of music. One that has the intent to be enjoyed in intimate and sometimes lonely settings, versus another that is supposed to purely be enjoyed off of the social interaction. I don't even want to talk about After Hours. Now that we understand that Gunna's fans don't need physical representations of his music, let's move on to the quality of the records. Now, y'all know, I thought that Drip Season 4, outside of a couple tracks that were really good in my opinion, was trash. I saw a bit more potential in Gunna, but like my opinion of him as a whole did not change. But as I said before, if people around me want to play Gunna's music, I'm not gonna tell them to turn it off. It's meant to be social. Okay, that's what that music is meant for. I'm gonna be bored as fuck, but I understand that I'm not supposed to pay attention to it. Let's look at Dawn FM. Dawn FM is one of The Weeknd's most outgoing projects since his early work. I would say since 2011 Weeknd. He admits himself that this was a bit more of a transitional phase, and this album feels like the bridge to something else as opposed to its own full realized work, which is okay. But It also leads to why I believe people may not have enjoyed it as much as After Hours, which had fully realized and fully fleshed out ideas. It tracks multiple, Metro Boomin with Heartless, got Blinding Lights, fan favorites, a deluxe record, tons of promo. If you want to be honest with yourself, Dawn FM had trash marketing. Okay, there was no campaign. There was nothing to push it. Let's not act like Gunna had a head start on his record either, though. Music on Dawn FM, however good and experimental from The Weeknd and outgoing from The Weeknd, is slow. It's a slow burner. It's even slower than the records off of After Hours. And again, this is coming from a person who loves Dawn FM. I actually really like the record. There aren't as many hits, aren't as many standout songs. It blends together really, really nicely. As a concept, as a project as a whole, as a record by itself, does it stand stronger than his other records? I think it does. Will it sway people who aren't already fans of The Weeknd? I don't think so, especially if they're looking for something fast or something to take out of context of the album. But Gunna does have that kind of music on his album, an album that you don't need to listen to in totality, but you can take your favorite moments away from and keep playing them over and over and over and over and over again. Pushin' P, Thought I Was Playing, Too Easy. I don't really want to even think about what his first week sales would have been had he put Pussy Power on there with Drake in the beginning. And we also have to take that into account. The Weeknd did this album with essentially no features. No notable features outside of Wayne, and I don't really think anyone had much faith that Wayne was going to give a great feature on a Weeknd album, to be honest. Tyler, the Creator, like no one's, and again, don't get me wrong, I like Tyler's music. Am I playing it around my people? No, you're not playing this. But this is partly why you'd have people that are so strongly gung-ho about having physical representations of that type of music so they could play in intimate settings or have to represent even parts of themselves, as opposed to Gunna's music that's a lot more fun, that you can take outside the context of an album, have a good time to, put it back. You don't need a physical anything. And y'all can get into the marketing, you know, like, oh, Gunna had all these headlines, these things helped. I don't really think anyone gave a fuck about the marketing for Gunna or what happened leading up into his records or anything like that. I don't think anyone cared. I think since The Weeknd released a slower record, a record that didn't have as much excitement nor as many hits as After Hours, it gave Gunna a bit more of a chance because some people were instantly disappointed by what The Weeknd had put out. It's slower. It's a little bit more experimental. It's meant to be enjoyed as an album, not just song by song. Then they say, you know what? Let's go see what Gunna talking about. What he on? And boom, he's got tracks that you can replay like crazy. Will you listen to the whole album? Probably not. Lastly, I just want to get on 150,000 anything being a flop to people. The Weeknd's popularity has not changed in any capacity because his digital streams were shown and his physical copies weren't. Every record that The Weeknd has released up until this point has always included his physical sales in the first week numbers, okay? This time it didn't, and now people are saying, oh, he fell off. It's because the music is trash. It's because of this. It's because of that. Even if that was the case, even if 150,000 came from physical sales and his digital streams, that's still not bad at all. Comparing it to his recent stuff, I already know, yeah, that's a L, bro. That's a L. But the numbers game has driven people to do insane things. You know, Justin Bieber will tell you, we're not supposed to push the numbers. We're supposed to push the quality of the record. And when you push the quality of the records over the numbers, the narrative gets shifted from who's selling the most to who is the best artist, who released the best music, whose music sounds the best right now. No one should care about the numbers because, as I said, Gunna and The Weeknd should never exist in the same conversation because their sales in comparison to one another are irrelevant. They have two totally different types of audiences that are not going to buy their records for the same reasons. No matter how successful Gunna gets in the future, even if he ends up streaming 300,000 first week, majority of that will never be from physical copies because people don't listen to his music for that reason. But you know who's always gonna have high physical first week sales? Adele, Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, Tyler, the Creator. These fandoms build personalities around these niggas. They need that merch. Gunna fans don't. They just don't. They're both going to be successful in their own right. They're both going to continue to be successful in their own right. Gunna is getting bigger. He's going to keep taking over the streaming game as long as he has fun music for people to listen to. In The Weeknd, there's been no change. There's been no change at all. And I want to see the first week physical sales.